Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Billy,
I'm Bridget.
and this is Sibling Rivalry Sports. If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe down below. Be greatly appreciated. This episode, we are going to be talking about the Sacramento Kings and what they have done so far this off season. Right. First, we're going to start with the people that have left the Kings. So far, they've lost Sasha, Davion, Chris Duarte, and Harrison Barnes. So let's talk about Sasha. So last year, there's all this up top uproar about, oh, he's a EuroLeague MVP. He's going to bring so much to this team, and it just did not pan out. I don't know.
Yeah.
For some reason something happened, and it just seemed like when he got his setting and he started to play well, he just got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he is a catch and shoot guy and you're trying to get more from him or what, but something I noticed is his ball handling skills were really lacking. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, he lost control, it went out of bounds. It was frustrating to watch him on the court sometimes. Um, but it also could be that he was like getting a cold start every time and, not really getting enough playing time to get comfortable. I know that's what a lot of critics are saying about, saying the Kings did him dirty and never gave him enough playing time, never gave him a chance. Um, and we'll see what he does with the rest of his career. I know there are a lot of people out there rooting for him and hoping that he's gonna do well and kind of prove us wrong. But as a Kings fan, I'm not shocked, I guess, to see him go.
Yeah, I just don't think he just couldn't get comfortable.
Mm.
Right, it felt like right when he started to get comfortable, he would get hurt, and then he'd be out of the rotation. He was just more of a catch and shoot guy. And whenever he tried to make a play, that's when it was like, no, that's not working. I did like his hustle though on the boards. When he would get in, he would crash the
Yeah,
boards hard.
yeah. And there
But
were some
often,
times that he got hot and his shooting was a big contributor to, I would say maybe a handful of games, but
yeah,
um,
when he was on, he was on. But then when he was off, he was off. And some games he only
yeah,
had like 2 shots a game. It's like I feel like he's a volume shooter,
yeah,
but there's there's talk about him going back to Europe and not even there's that's a whole nother debacle of what's going on with his that whether he's on the Raptors
yeah.
overseas, his contract will it allow him to go overseas, but that's a whole nother
Yeah. I
story.
mean, and then there was the whole drama like early in the off season of like, oh, Sasha asked to be released from the Kings,
Yeah,
like all of that stuff. So again, I'm not shocked that he's gone. Davion Mitchell, on the other hand, he did seem like a great fit just in terms of culture. He would come in and make a contribution. I think with him, it was just a matter of having so much depth at that position.
yeah, especially
And
with
then
Debbie and Carter
also
now.
coupling with Keon Ellis making such a huge
Yeah,
impact towards the end of the season. Davion got brought in a lot, I think, for its defensive prowess. And now that we've seen a little bit more about what Keon Ellis can do, I think it just made Davion a little bit disposable.
yeah. Well, and with the
Unfortunately,
draft pick,
I love the guy. I love him as a human, kind of, what he brought to the team. And he always just had great hustle, great attitude. But again, I think it was just a depth issue
yeah.
there.
Well, and it became redundant, especially with Carter, who's
Yeah.
basically they're like one and the same, one and two. And the problem with Davian, he just didn't have any offense. Like a
Hmm.
couple games he would do well, but then other games you could tell his shooting just wasn't there.
Yeah, we saw some flashes for sure.
Yeah, but most
But
of the time he was defense. But and the other problem was he fouled. He seemed to foul a lot because he was always trying to get into him. But the problem is he would always reach, and then he would get in foul trouble, and then that would kill him.
yeah. So Chris Duarte was someone who got moved. And that was part of the DeRozan
Yeah,
switch, right? The
yeah.
three-way trade and
And
sign kind of thing.
there was big talk about getting him last year because about him and Sabonis having chemistry. But again, Duarte just didn't. There would be some games he would play really well, good defense, and then other games it was like he wasn't on the court and he was killing them on the offensive.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah. I feel like out of the four players we're looking at right here, Duarte kind of had the most minimal kind of impact on the season last year.
Uh,
Um,
Either him
maybe
or
tied with
Sasha.
Sasha.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Sasha, he was just like I said, he was always hurt. I had so much hope for him, but he was just couldn't get any, just couldn't get on the court.
Yeah, and I think maybe a difference though to point out between the two is Dorte's still quite young and has, I think,
Yeah.
opportunity to keep developing in this league. And I wish him all the best. See where he goes. Sasha, although he was a rookie this year in the NBA, he's not a true rookie.
No.
He is, kind of a tried and true veteran when it comes to overseas play. So,
Yeah.
um, someone near and dear to my heart is leaving the Kings. I love Harrison Barnes. I will miss looking at him, especially, but also what he brings or what he brought to the team just in terms of his veteran leadership. I think we're going to get that veteran leadership out of DeMar DeRozan, obviously. And then, of course, like Sabonis and Fox are getting
A little older.
kind of up there in their years and experience now, too. So I think, Kings Nation overall loves Harrison Barnes as much
Yeah.
as there were calls to trade him all season last year. No one can say anything bad about who he is as a person and
No.
how he shows up. So, one thing that this team makes me cry more than any other team, any other sport that I watch. But I did get brought to tears, like teary-eyed at one point this week. It was during DeRozan's press conference with Monty McNair, and they were asked about, hey, can you just speak to Harrison Barnes? He was part of leaving in this sign and trade. Can you just speak to who he is as a player and, what you see for him moving forward? Of course, Monty had nothing but glowing things to say about him. And something DeMar DeRozan did following Monty's comments, I think really illustrated to me who we're getting as a person in DeMar DeRozan, because he chimed in after Monty's comments and said, Harrison's fine, like he's gonna be fine. He's getting settled. He's already
Yeah.
reached out to me for food recommendations in San Antonio. Like Harrison's good. And to me, like once I heard DeMar DeRozan say that, I started getting teary-eyed because I think it occurred to him, or he's like in touch already with our fan base well enough to know, like, we're not devastated to be losing Harrison Barnes, the player.
Yeah.
But as a community, we're devastated to be losing him as a person. Like he was really great to our community. And it just really kind of touched me that DeMar DeRozan seemed to recognize that and what Harrison Barnes brought. He was here for 6 years and really embedded himself in the community, did a lot of really good things. And so just DeMar DeRozan kind of jumping in, kind of reassuring us as a fan base, like Harrison Barnes is not completely devastated. Like he's moving on. He's picked himself up and, doing well. So for me, honestly, like as a fan, it was nice for me to hear that.
Yeah. They're gonna miss his leadership for sure. It's just too bad his offense and just went downhill. And everyone's like, oh, he had great games. It's like, yeah, but then he followed that up with like 5 points in 10 games.
Yeah, it was a lack of consistency.
Yeah. And because like you look at it and he averaged only 12 points a game, it's like, yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah, not in a starter and a veteran,
No.
playing a pretty key role in the team.
Unless you're averaging 15 rebounds a game, then okay, we can let the points slide.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Now we're gonna talk about the Kings off-season pickups. And you have to start with DeMar DeRozan. That is a huge pickup. That's going to help so much in crunch time. It's not
possibly one of the biggest acquisitions the Kings have ever made.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And that's going to help so much crunch time. It's not going to be all on Fox.
Yep.
He's going to have some help to where DeMar can help him in the crunch to create. He's a good shot creator. And I think people aren't really talking about is his passing skills, which is going to help when he drives. People can't help off a Keegan, and because he'll just find him for an open three. So it's like
Yeah.
in Chicago, it was all DeMar. So he was even making these shots on triple team, going up and shooting the midi. to where they can't do that in Sacramento. So I think he'll still average, I think, close to 20 points a game.
Yeah, and it'll be kind of cool to see if, Keegan is able to find his um find his stride a little bit more offensively this year with DeMar DeRozan kind of there as, him, Sabonis, Fox being the triple threat.
Yeah.
And, it's really gonna hopefully give Keegan a lot more good open looks to find his stride, find that comfort level, and really take off this year.
Yeah. And DeMar with Sabonis in the pick and roll is going to be a nightmare for teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think Sabonis and DeRozan are gonna love playing together.
Yeah. And then you got Jordan McCullough,
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. I don't know why that name was giving me problems. And he's more just so of a backup guard. He's only 6 foot. He's a
Yeah.
good defender. He's not going to give you much offensive wise, but he'll give you a lot. He'll be a tough defender, which we all know the Kings need.
Yeah. Give us some depth. And I think Jalen McDaniel is going to play a similar role just in terms of depth. Some, a body on the bench, and he'll come in and, he'll get some playing time. He's a big guy. He's 6'9". So, we definitely need as much height as we can get on the team. And he's played with several teams at this point. So I think he's got some, NBA experience behind him at least. And if nothing else, can bring that to the team and, help give our starters a little bit of a rest here and there.
The Jordan signing at first, it was the same day as the DeMar signing. And everyone was like, what? Huh? That doesn't make sense. Another guard. And then 2 days, then like I think it was like the next day, it came out that Devin Carter was having surgery and out for 6 months. It's like, oh, so
Yeah. So
that's why
now,
they went out and signed Jordan.
yeah. So good transition to Devin Carter there. He was the one that the Kings got in the draft this offseason. It was a highly rated draft pick. All of the kind of pundits were saying what a great pick the Kings got out of Devin Carter. But now we're seeing reports just in the past few days that he has undergone surgery already on his shoulder and will be out for potentially 6 months. So that pushes him into basically the new year at this point. So he's going to miss, quite a bit of the season. And hopefully when he does get better, maybe potentially post All-Star break, and he's able to get out there on the floor, he can find his rhythm fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But otherwise it'll be probably looking at like next summer league, starting to really see what he's made of.
But honestly, it may help because he'll probably most likely still be on the bench and he'll be able to see the game still and see the speed and kind of pick it
Yeah.
up based on that.
Yeah, for sure.
So the elephant in the room with the Kings is lack of size. And they really have not done anything to help that this offseason. Like, as good as the DeMar DeRozan pickup was, he's only 6'6". So there's a bunch of things going around on who's going to be starting for the Kings, who's not going to be starting for the Kings, who's coming off the bench. Like, is Monk starting? Is Keon starting? And I don't think, honestly, either one of them should be starting because to me, they're both too short. They're both 6'3". So you have Fox, Monk, and Keon all at 6'3" or below. And as we saw,
DeRozan's not providing that height either.
no. And it's like, if you run out that team as good as Keon is on defense, he's just not tall enough. And
yeah, I mean, they were a top 5 rated defensive team when Keon started.
Yeah, but then their offense lacked and that dropped because Keon just wasn't there offensively yet. And as this summer league, he did show
Keegan.
out.
I meant Keon if I said Keegan.
Yeah, Keon showed out this summer league. He did similar to what Keegan did last summer league, where he looked like a man among boys, and it's like, yeah, he belongs in the NBA.
Yeah, and we're so glad to see that out of Keon. It just shows that he's still making strides, and I think really solidifies him as a bona fide, you know, contributor on this team that
Yeah.
he's able to dominate in summer league like he has this year.
And the one name that I think everyone keeps on forgetting about is Kevin Hurt. Like, you don't hear his name anywhere mentioned, whether he's starting, coming off the bench. And to me, I feel like if he can regain even half his shooting form from the first year with the Kings, he's got to be the starter at 6'7".
Yeah.
Be-
Well, you know, the thought process behind that might be obviously he was injured last season. Um, when he was in, he didn't contribute the same way he did the season before. And it might just be a, you know, let's wait and see which Kevin Herter is going to show up this
yeah,
season. If he can, you know, show up, be that just rocket shooter that he was before, and really contribute, make some strides, then, you know, we got our starting lineup and they're good. But if not, it might be something the Kings are just kind of going to keep an eye on and, you know, look to make a move before the trade deadline during
yeah.
the
I
season.
mean, maybe because to me, the lineup should be Fox, DeRozan, Herter, Keegan, Sabonis. And like I said, if Herter's not performing, then okay, you know what? We need to make a change to this. And maybe you
The
start.
question I have about that is, will Mike Brown make the change? Because
Yeah,
all season last year, I was saying, take Kevin out of the starting lineup, like put Monk in, give it a try. What do we have to lose? Like, let's just give it a try. And all season until Kevin's injury, Coach Brown stuck with Kevin Herter
no,
as the starter.
he did take him out some of the games. He did start Duarte some of those games. And again, it's because of the height.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it is height.
I
Because if
just
you do put Monk in there, okay, but you're losing 4 inches right there. And your
sure, yeah.
court is so small to where at least Duarte is 6'7". So they did go with Duarte and a couple other guys here and there at starting. And
Right.
the common denominators, they're all about the same height.
And
It
then
was,
once Herter did go out, Keon pretty much
yeah,
stepped in as the starter in that position.
he
So
didn't start right away. They did have other people. Then they're like, okay, you know what? Let's give it to Keon. Let's see what he can do.
yeah, and I think he handled it really well. Um,
Except for
yeah,
when they played the big teams, then they struggled.
yeah,
Like 0-5 against the Pelicans,
Pelicans killed us.
the big
Yeah,
team. So maybe it's just matchup dependent, the starting lineup. Like if they go against a big
potentially,
team,
yeah.
maybe you
I
just
just,
start.
for me, my one hesitation is just seeing how consistent Coach Brown was with starting the same starting lineup pretty
Yeah,
much all season. Um, is he going to make that change? And if he does, two things. One, what does that do to Herter's
confident.
confidence? And two, what does that do to Herter's trade value? If we're deciding to change, you know, that, hey, halfway through the season, we may need to look at making a change there. Oh, all these other teams are seeing the Kings are sitting him. So I don't know. It's a tough puzzle. So
Well,
if
and the other
this
problem
is
with
indeed our roster and there's not another move to be made, I think the Kings probably are still looking at options, but the trade rumors have definitely cooled down a bit in the last week or
yeah,
so.
and my other thing is if you start Monk, that's going to hurt the bench because he was a big points off the bench guy.
Yeah.
And now you take those points off the bench to the starting rotation. Yeah, your starting is great, but your offense on the defensive end or on the bench side, you don't got much offense going on now. So you're kind of struggling. Like maybe you can maneuver it to where you got a couple people like change it up, but I don't know. We'll see. That's why Coach Brown is a coach, and
Yeah, and Monty's in the position he's in too. So
yeah.
not
So
us.
let us know down below who you guys think should start, come off the bench. Maybe you know something that maybe we should think about.
Yeah, or
Um,
maybe you think that the Kings still have another move to make and we're gonna
yeah,
get surprised with
or
another
maybe they start someone we're
more
not even.
trade
Trey
moves.
Lyles has been thrown out there a couple times.
Yeah, we just started hearing that today
Yeah.
from.
So who knows? Maybe there's a move. Something seems to always happen once we get off.
Yeah,
So
we'll probably
maybe,
find out some big
yeah,
news in the next hour or so. So stand
yeah.
by.
So let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Until next time, light the beam.